Hi, Curtis here. If you're new to Ravelli, this video might be for you. We're going to go over how to install the baffle in my Francesca stove behind me here. Maybe your baffle is similar. Take a look. We're also going to talk a little bit about the menu, which is on the top of the stove here, the display, and some of the issues that I've had trying to get into the display, or should I say the menu, and turning some of the settings on and off. This is the display on my Francesca. It has the three buttons here. It's the OK button, which is also the on button and the off button, and then the navigate buttons that run you through the menu. Pressing the button one time turns on the display, and you can see my stove I have set at power level 4, and the temperature of the thermostat is 64 degrees. That's the set temp, and of course it's February 3rd, and it's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and my stove is off. If you press this button again, you get into the menu, and this E right here is the user menu. That's the one you're going to be in most of the time. Press it again. Now you're in the user menu. The stove status, we're not going to talk too much about, but if you do play around with that, you might end up turning your auger on continuously, and that can be alarming. This sets your room temperature, of course, and then this sets the power level. The power level, I run mine at 4 because if I run it at 5, the pellets in the burn pot kind of boil, and the stove seems like it's really struggling to put out that temp. So the highest I run mine is on 4. Oh, one thing here, if you're in a menu and you want to get out of the menu, you can hit button 1 and 2 simultaneously. That gets you back to the main screen. And let's go back into user here and navigate. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about is this right here, the comfort climate. On my stove, I have this off. The reason why I have it off is your stove will start and stop. It takes forever for it to stop. It takes forever for it to start, and the temperature swings seem to be excessive. So I leave that off. Let's take a look at this next one. This is called silence mode. If this is on, your stove will be whisper quiet, and the fan will never seem like it's blowing out much, and your stove is going to be baking hot on the outside. I don't know why you'd ever use this. Maybe if you were making a video or something and the stove is on in the background, you could do that, but I've never used it. So turn that off. And the way that you turn it on and off is you just turn it like this right here. So it's on silent mode is on, and then there it is off. So this mode right here is called self-control mode. If you have this off, you can open your hopper and fill pellets while the stove is running. You can leave the hopper door open for about a minute. While the stove is starting, if you have kind of a weird start, you can open the front glass real quick and either throw some pellets in or knock the cliff over of pellets that are not burning correctly and close the door. If you have that on, you're going to end up not being able to open your hopper while the stove is running. It'll go into an error mode and shut down. So make sure you have that off, unless you have kids or something in the room. I think the other thing that they said this is for is if you leave the stove unattended for a long time, this will shut it down if it detects any sort of a problem immediately. All right, let's go back into the user menu again. It timed out on us. Few settings I'm not going to talk about in this video. This is your working hours and also the number of starts and stops, or starts I should say. So my stove has 9,504 hours on it. My ignitions are 2,172 because I shut my stove off every night. So there's a lot of ignitions. And then the partial hours here is from the last cleaning, and you can see that I'm almost 2,000 hours, so I'm getting really close to having to do a deep cleaning. Reset the working hours. When you clean your stove, you can reset the working hours if you have the right code. I don't remember what the code is right now, but you can set that so that the alarm doesn't keep going off. Yep, I'm denied. Back into the user menu. All right, we just talked about that one. Set the draft and pellets. So if while your stove is running and in modulation mode, if you still have a very high flame and you want it to go down, you can change the setting of your pellets using button 1 and 2 here to move it up or down. You can increase the pellets or drop or decrease the pellet drop. And if you hit this right here, you get into the flow. My stove is getting quite dirty, so occasionally I go in and I kind of kick it up a little bit. Makes the flame look a little better. And then that is it. So let's go ahead and go back to the main menu, and I'll show you how to install the baffle. Okay, so first I'm just going to use the provided tool to open the door. You pull on the latch, of course, open the door, open it all the way. And then we're going to use just one hand to pull the baffle out. Put your fingers in this slot, use your thumb to kind of lift it a little bit, to pull it away from that back support. Bend it down, and then just kind of twist it out. One thing that I want to notice before you install it, after you clean your stove, make sure that this little swing plate bracket is down. When you hold your baffle, you're going to want to hold it like this with your fingers in the slot here, and this cut out towards the back of the stove, and this flange pointing down in the front. So you tip it like this to get it through the door, level it out, raise it so it's almost vertical. Come back a little bit, or should I say forward, to get over that front bracket. Pull it towards you, and then rest it on this little swing plate thing. And then you kind of feel around in there to make sure it's seated properly. And you can't see any of this when you're doing it. It's just all by touch. And believe me, after you get used to it, you can literally do it with just one motion, and it goes in with no problem. Well, thanks for watching. Let's turn on the stove here. There's two ways that you can turn it on. You can do a long press of the OK button, and that'll turn it on, or a little faster as you hit it once to turn on the display, and then it's a little shorter press to get it going. One thing I noticed when I was going through my footage is I ended up having the self-control mode on, so I need to turn that off. One thing you need to do if you're just got your stove recently installed, a lot of the installers don't know this, but there is the temperature sensor. It's sticking out of the back of the stove. When Ravelli ships these, they are curled around and kind of pushed into the side panel here. So I don't know why the installers don't pull it out, but it'll be tucked in. You need to pull it out. If you can't pull it out, you'll have to unscrew your side panel. And on my stove, to unscrew the side panel, you got to take this screw off here, and then there's another one under here. If you're on Facebook, there is a group called Ravelli Pellet Stoves USA. The moderator is Brian. He's quite good. There's not that many people on it. I think there's 89 people or so. So your post will stay active for quite a while. Unlike some of the other pellet stove groups that there's thousands of people on them, and as soon as somebody posts, somebody else posts right on top of you. So I'm also on that group. I'm fairly new to Facebook, and so if I see your post, I'll reply. You can also leave a comment with questions and or anything that you've found out about your Ravelli stove, and it'll help everybody here. Thanks again. Take care.